everybody.
So, guys, we had some technical issues with our recording in the class that we just finished. It was amazing. We had such really good interaction. So, we were really hoping to share that original video, but alas, technology has caused us some issues. So, Jess and I are redoing this just for you guys because we didn't want you to miss out
Yes,
on all the good stuff.
that's right. That's right.
So, Jess, we'll just start like we did the last time. You want to talk a little bit about
Okay.
Skin Pro? What got you here?
Yeah. So Skinwand Pro I developed during COVID. And that was because at the time I had my own practice and, we were all shut down like the rest of the world. And I had clients that were going on to the interwebs and getting themselves needling pins, thinking they were doing a good thing and destroying their skin. So, and it happens, right? It happens. So I just figured, I don't want to fight this. How can I join it? Right. And there was nothing on the market that was really safe for clients to, or for you to retail, or for clients to get, period, right? Because they think it's safe because it's on the internet, and and it's like, no, only professionals should be getting those. So I closed that gap and created Skin Pro. So we are an at-home nano-channeling device that is safe for you to retail to your clients. It is at a depth of 0.15. So they can't overdo it. They can't mess up any of the professional treatments that you're doing. They can only enhance them. Um, so yeah, that's where it all started.
That's where it all came together. So,
Ah,
for me, I'm a 35-year SD. I carried Clayton Shagal the whole time in my practice, and in retirement, they were looking for a rep for South Carolina and North Carolina, and that was about 4 years ago. And so now I cover most of the US. And Clayton Chagall actually started out as burn and wound healing. The line has expanded since then to cover all skin types and all skin conditions. So we are, our fundamentals are kind of the core of our product line. And then we have some wonderful masks and scrubs and essentials to work around those fundamentals. When Jess and I met, we just knew that we needed to do a collaboration. So it's the first modality collaboration that we have done with
first
anyone.
skincare brand collab that I've done. So
So
yeah.
it's the OG collab here, which is really, really cool. Um, so we got together and came up with this incredible protocol. And as Jess was saying, her retail Skin Pro is a 0.15 tip. And so we wanted to step that up a bit for some in-spa treatment. And so this protocol calls for a 0.25 tip, which you can get through Jess for your Skin Pro. Your clients can use their 0.15 at home and their
Mhm.
0.25 in spa. So they get something from you that they don't get at home. And the products and the Skin Pro work so well together that we just decided we had to make an official protocol, which people are now using and loving. So Jessica and I got together and recorded a treatment with this protocol, and we wanted to present that to you guys today.
Yes. I will go ahead and share my screen. Make sure I click the sound share. All right. Can you see me okay?
I can see you.
Sweet. And then, hi, little bluebird.
Pretty bird.
Yeah. All right. Are we ready to go?
I think so. Let's do it. We'll be pausing off and on to chat a little bit about things that are happening in the video. This protocol actually started with just gel lotion cleanser, but our client came in, our model came in with a lot of makeup on. So I did a double cleanse and I started with milk cleanser instead of the gel lotion cleanser. And so when you look at the protocol, this may look a little different, and that's why. So, you have to modify things sometimes because you never know what your client's coming in like. Second cleanse with gel lotion. And we're using the AHA mask here. A lot of times, or well, most times when somebody comes in for a treatment or a facial, you want to use an exfoliant after you're cleansing, or a microderm or dermaplane, or whatever you want to use. In this case, we wanted to use an exfoliant that wasn't granular and would not disturb the epidermis as much, so we could be a little more aggressive with our treatment with Skinwand. So we used our AHA mask, which is super gentle. It is 15% AHA, and it has a pH of 4.65. So it's super hydrating and very gentle to the skin, and kind of the perfect light exfoliation, breaking up all that glue that holds the dead skin cells together. So it turned out to be a perfect prep, and you leave that on the skin for 5 minutes.
Yes. And it's always important too to make sure that if you do decide to exfoliate prior to skin wanding, which you're going to get an exfoliation from anyway, that it is more of a chemical base. Because if you did do one that, like Robin was saying, is granular, you run the risk of getting, that one random granule that's just laying around. And if it gets stuck in your skin wand, you do run the risk of micro tears. And we don't want to do that. No, no.
No, no. Neutralizing and removing. We neutralize the mask with just water, and I'm removing the mask with microfiber gloves that we adore at Clayton Shagal. And I like to use cooler water so as not to heat the skin up too much, but they're super soft, very gentle. You'll see me using these mitts and our little microfiber pads throughout the whole treatment. I go back in with the gel cleanser again, just to be sure that we got all of that mask off and have nice dry skin for Jess to come in with her magical treatment with Hypercell. And I'll talk about Hypercell, and then I'll turn it over to Jess and let her talk about the actual Skinwand Pro treatment. So Hypercell is a really heavy hitter, in my opinion, one of my favorite products with Clayton Shagal for our back bar. It is cytokine based, so it forces the body to produce collagen, elastin, and hyaluronic acid, stimulating fibroblast proliferation through those signals without creating trauma to the skin. So before we even start our skin wand, as she's putting on the Hypercell, that is starting to work at a cellular level. So the two of these together is just kind of perfect.
Yes. So I always like to let everybody know too is, you put your serums on the back of your hand. You don't want to use a dropper, obviously, and touch it to their skin. But what that's going to help you with is doing the zones. And I always like to break the face up into zones. It's better understood that way because every zone has different speeds that go along with it. And I like to use the forehead or do the forehead first because of the fact that it is nothing but skin and skull. So there's no meat there. And the forehead can be a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for? Sensitive, I guess.
Or
Not
sensitive,
sensitive. Yeah.
or
Yeah.
reactive.
So there you go. And when zoning, right? So your forehead is zone 1 and 2, and that's because you're also applying the hypercell in sections. You don't want to do it all over because, say you start on the forehead and you start working your way down, that serum is going to be absorbed by the skin already by the time you get to, the cheeks. So you do, 2 pumps on the back of your hand, and it also helps save you on the serum itself. Your forehead is going to be speeds 1 or 2. And then eyelids are always and forever going to be speed 1. Under eye areas are going to be speeds 1 and 2. And then the meatier parts of the face, so the upper mid face all the way down to the jawline, can be a 3. Now, once you get to the neck, you may or may not want to just slow it down a little bit, just because our neck is a little bit more sensitive than the rest of our face. And then you can bump it back up on the décolleté area. I'll go ahead and start this. So as you can see, doing it in sections. I'm also doing what I like to call swirlies. Totally up to you how you prefer to use the skin wand. You can do it in swirlies, you can do it in hashtags. You can also do the stamping motion, but that way is a little bit less effective. And it's harder to tell if you got an area completely and evenly. And another thing too, when you're using your skin wand, you want to work against wrinkles, not with, right? So, the 11s, that's where the swirlies come in, because you're moving across it. Which means basically what you're doing when you're skin wanding, doing swirlies against everything, holding the skin tight also, is you're lifting up what is collapsed. So that is what we really need to work on. But we also need to work on what hasn't collapsed yet. So it just helps to get that collagen stimulation going evenly. And you can see here I'm holding the skin taut, especially around the eye area, because you don't want to run the risk of skipping. And then sometimes the client needs to help you out so they can tuck their lips, and it helps keep that area nice and tight. And I like just one extra pump all over, just to give that extra oomph. And then it's Robin's turn again.
So we love the extra oomph that you get with the hypercell for sure. So since we channeled all the hypercell in, and then there's another layer of hypercell there, we want to give that product enough time to completely penetrate. So while that is absorbing, and I always say absorbing instead of drying, you don't want to rush it. And sometimes I'll see people they'll apply fundamental and they'll fan it. And it's like, no, 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 we don't want it to dry. We want it to absorb. So I'm giving that plenty of time to do that. And while the skin is still absorbing the hypercell, I am mixing up our post-treatment mask, which is 2 teaspoons of refirming mask and 2 teaspoons of mochaccino mask. Oops, I lost the whole thing. There you are. The mochaccino mask it's full of caffeine and chocolate, so it's very antioxidant rich. It's anti-inflammatory, it's super hydrating. It also has avocado oil in it. Really good for hyperpigmentation. And the refirming mask is this powder that you see, and that can be added to any of our masks for a tightening and uh, astringent effect. So we love to use the refirming powder with any of our masks. In this one in particular, it's for more age management, and we're using it in conjunction with the mochaccino. So I'm going to mix that up and set it to the side. And while that sits, I'm going to apply our elastin serum. So we're using the hypercell, the elastin serum, and the collagen serum, which is the serum and liquid version of our some of our fundamentals. And they're applied in this order because of their molecular weights. So the hypercell being the lightest is the one we used for the nano-channeling. And now we're applying the elastin serum for calming, for soothing, and also for strengthening the skin. Um, its molecular weight always goes before collagen. So, but the three of them together in the skin function as one. They just have to be applied in different levels or at different times and in a certain uh, order for them to work as effectively as we need for them to work. So that's what, and it's a great note that you have on the video, Jess, not to rub it in to allow it to absorb. So this is the elastin serum application. Again, we wait for that to totally absorb, and then we're going to apply our collagen serum. While that is absorbing, I am creating our lip treatment, which is half collagen serum and half hyaluronic that I'm going to mix in that little glass bowl and then soak our Gibson in it, which is a fancy little piece of material that we get from Canada because we don't have it here. But you mix those together really well and soak your Gibson in there. And you're going to use that as your lip treatment after we put on our mask. Checking to be sure everything's dry or absorbed. Excuse me, I used my own incorrect term. And now we're applying the mochaccino refirming mask, which is very thick in consistency. So you want to keep your silicone brush moist when you're applying this, and it will go on super smoothly. It's very cooling and very calming. On top of that, we're putting our sheet mask. We have earlier wet this mask, opened it, and let it get completely dry. We're applying it to the skin so that it holds an occlusion and forces all those ingredients into the skin instead of evaporating. And then we're finishing with our lip plumping treatment with the collagen and the hyaluronic. 20 minutes later, rehydrating with a warm towel and then removing the sheet mask. So yeah, you mostly won't get this off in one time. So you're going to need to apply a cleanser after you do this. Um, I use the gel lotion in this case. Making sure that all the water is, from all the cleanser, making sure the cleanser is removed, applying a hyaluronic. So we know that at this point, after all those serums and all that masking and all that treatment, the skin is really not going to absorb much more. So now we're really focused on topical treatments. So we're using our hyaluronic for hydration. We're going to use our elastin plus and our collagen plus, knowing that it is just a topical treatment at this point to calm the epidermis from the Skinwand Pro, which it's very calm already. So once all of those have absorbed completely, we're going to move forward with our end of our treatment. And we're using actually our moisturizing mask as a next to finishing product. Um, I love the moisturizing mask. It's kind of a miracle mask. It feels
Mhm.
incredible. It's like ice on a fire. It is definitely part of my first aid kit. It's mostly amino acids, but it has a honey-like consistency. So when you apply a thin layer of this, we're not really using it as a mask. We're using it as a treatment, and you'll want to wet your hands to put the mask on, or you can use a wet silicone brush to apply it. You just don't want to put it on too thickly. Another option at this point is your client can go with the moisturizing mask under the LED right from here because we're not going to remove this. And finishing with our Sensoderm cream. This is a great cream to have in your back bar for any post-treatment. It has Artemia extract in it, which is super nice and calming. It's great for compromised skin or post-treatment, no matter what kind of micro trauma or trauma you have created in the skin. Sometimes at the end, and Laura did really, really well. This was the second one that Jess and I did together. The first one, our client was much more reactive.
Hmm.
And you could really, really see the calming and soothing that took place post treatment. But Laura's skin is kind of bionic. She's been using Clayton Shagal for a while. So
Yeah.
she really came back with a lot less redness. So anyway, the Sensoderm cream and the moisturizing mask come in really handy with more compromised skin or skin that was more reactive to the treatment.
Are we ready?
Give it to us, Jess.
Yeah, here we go.
Yes, ma'am.
Like, look at that. Woohoo.
Fantastic results. Um,
Hmm.
our model had on a very difficult stain on her lips. I tried to remove it several different times. I'm still not completely sure if it was permanent or just a stain that those stains that you just can't get down. But she still got a great plumping treatment here, and I love the result around her mouth and the nasolabial area. Just looks
Definitely.
fantastic for one treatment.
Yeah. And it just looks so hydrated, like
Absolutely.
here.
So much more youthful. So much more youthful. I mean, her mouth, her 11s,
Hmm.
pretty much just gone. Jess noticed a big hyperpigmentation shift.
Hmm. Yeah, right there on her right cheek, close to her nose. It's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
That AHA mask, our AHAs and the mochaccino mask are kind of how I manage my own melasma. It seems that if I get much more aggressive than that, I always get blowback with it because I carry so much inflammation, I assume. But um, the AHA peeling treatment protocol for Chagall is fantastic for hyperpigmentation if you don't want to get too aggressive. And in conjunction with Skinwand Pro is just fabulous.
Yes. Yes. And I tell you, after, a Skin One Pro treatment, I personally always use the moisture mask afterwards, just because my skin is very reactive. Um, and that, just like you said, it ice to a fire. It's
Yeah.
just like, oh my goodness, get a little bit on my hand, kind of wet my fingers and just apply it and then go to bed. And I mean, I can't explain this that soft supple feeling, like it's something you have to experience.
And without lipids, like you don't wake up with that
Right.
oily, greasy feel. It's just so clean and so soft and so well hydrated. I agree. It is a
Hmm.
multifunctional mask for many, many, many reasons. So I think
Definitely.
I might share what this protocol looks like. What do you think about that?
Yes, I will stop sharing. Your turn.
Never stop sharing. I'm trying to share. There we go. So this is our Skin One Pro Ladies Night Clayton Chagall approved by both companies. Protocol that Jess and I are very, very proud of. We did such a good job on it. We really did.
Yes, we did. It only
So
took, a year or so.
Good things come to those who wait, I guess.
Right.
So
Perfection takes time.
it does, and this is a very detailed protocol. Fantastic to have, like, laminated, in the spa with your when you're doing your treatment. And what I love about it is how specific it is. It tells you who probably shouldn't use this treatment, who probably should use this treatment, how long it takes, the suggested price to charge, the approximate cost of your treatment. And then it goes and talks about results and benefits, all of the required accessories, the things that you need to have ready and available for your treatment. And then it tells you exactly how much of these products that you need to have available. So if you have a dispensary in your spa, you can just go and get these things in your little cups and have it all ready. So it's very easy to follow. And sometimes you'll see, so like it says the gel cleanser 1, 2, and 3. We use it 3 times. The first time you might need 2 pumps, the second time 2 pumps, the last time one. Hyaluronic is used twice. The first time 2 pumps, the second time 3 pumps. So it is very, very specific and super easy to follow. And then we go into preparation for your protocol. It takes you through step by step exactly what you need to do. It reminds you not to heat the AHAs. It reminds you not to not to overheat your products. And sometimes with your cleansers or any of your products that you're using after Skinwand Pro, you don't want them to be too warm anyway because the skin is kind of heated up. And then it takes you through the exfoliation stage, how much, how long, where it should go, everything you need to know, into our main treatment, which just went through with the hypercell, what speed to use and what zones on the skin, all the different phases, the repairing phase, the post-treatment phase, the lip treatment, all the way to our Sensoderm cream. And then it gives you suggestions of retail sales that you might want to make post treatment that would help them at home to continue to heal and continue to get these great results that you've created. All of the Clayton Shagal protocols come like this, which makes it really really easy and takes the guesswork out of how you should use it and how much you need and keeps you from wasting product, using too much, and gives you your perfect wait time, so you never have to wonder.
And I love that about y'all's protocols. It is. It's very, very easy. And you take all the guesswork out of it because it's like, well, how long do I need to do this? Oh, wait, there it is right there. How much of
Exactly.
this do I need? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
So true. And in the
Mhm.
last video that we did that we should be sending, that we are not sending, we had some really cool questions, and one of them was about this treatment with acne. And, you know, anything that you want to, if you want to try to do this type of treatment on a client that has acne, there might be a couple of things that we want to change. So if you get this protocol and you want to apply it to a skin type that you think might need some changes, just reach out. It's really easy to make changes and to help you figure out exactly what would work best for your client's skin. um and another question we had was age management. We talked about bundles and a lot of questions about how many of these you should do in a row to see treatments. And Jess, I think you kind of ran with that one.
Yeah. Was that the one? Yes, the 6 to 8
6 to 8 treatments.
every, yeah, every 2 weeks.
You could do it every
Um,
2 weeks.
hmm and I think that is like the perfect number. Uh, Everybody's going to see results right away after the first one, as you could see from our before and afters. And, like you had said earlier too, Robin, on the other one, how, the more um, aged the skin is, um, they're going to see greater results. And, it's, I'm trying to remember everything we talked about.
I know there was so much. Yeah, it is true that, the more wrinkles and lines that you see and the more dehydrated the skin is, the more dramatic the result from just one treatment. And we also talked about the importance of pre and post care.
Yes.
Clients being on this client, that this model that we used is a Chagall using person. And her reaction to this treatment was very, very minimal because her skin is already semi bionic.
Mhm.
And we had that result with people that use home care because, Jess always says 70% of what happens in the spa is a direct result of what they're doing at home.
Mhm.
Is
Oh
that the
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. 70% is them, 30% is us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
Mhm.
the better shape they're in prior to treatment, the better results they'll get during their treatment, and then those will start to accumulate. And that was something else that
Right.
we covered. The cumulative
Yep.
effect of these
Yeah.
treatments, which
Yeah.
can be
And
pretty.
that's like the main thing when it comes to like the anti-aging type of thing, It their skin accumulated all the, whatever was going on to, have the wrinkling and the dehydration and, the inflammation. And it takes another accumulation for them to get right. And um again,
A great
it
analogy.
it's amazing, the results we got. And yes, as subtle as they were, because Laura too is an esthetician, so
Yeah,
she
it's not
keeps
like
that
she had virgin skin or anything.
right, right. um but yeah, it was absolutely amazing. And I just loved the difference between, our test dummy, Carrie.
Yeah.
Like poor
Oh
Carrie.
yeah. Very reactive. Yeah.
Yes. And but even her results were like, and remember we were just standing there kind of hovering over her. Like, oh my God.
It was
Like
amazing.
this is absolutely amazing. And I love it.
I do
So,
too. And I think something else that we talked about that I think is important to bring into this recording is that, you know, 20 years ago or so, there were some chemical peels, there was microdermabrasion, but there wasn't such a massive focus on such aggressive treatments. And then we
mhm,
swung in the complete opposite direction where everything was CO2, laser resurfacing, like the totally opposite end of the spectrum. And I feel like protocols like this are kind of swinging us back to center, which is kind of, I think,
yes.
where we should be, not the constant trauma, constant trauma, constant trauma, constant trauma in every product, in every modality. The skin never really has a chance to shine because it's always in recovery. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that estheticians are starting to find a more happy medium with modalities and protocols like this and still get phenomenal results without having all of that downtime.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it's still, and I'm sure you're the same way, being an esthetician too. It's like we know you don't have to completely destroy your barrier and your skin in general to get it to go, wait a minute, I need to repair. I need to kind of flush something out. And yeah, this protocol, like you said, it proves it, is
Yeah.
what it does. It proves that all we have to do is get it just barely to that point, and it goes, oh, wait, yep, I know what I need to do now. Because sometimes overdoing it can give you the laxity problems, can, actually do more harm than good, because now you might come up with some hyperpigmentation you didn't have before. Or maybe you did have that, melasma kind of waiting in the background, just waiting to be,
Introduce.
set free. Yeah. And all of a sudden that's what happens. And there's a lot less of chance of anything bad happening when you're just barely getting it pissed.
Yeah.
Just barely.
Just making it just irritated enough to perform. And, there's a facet to this that I really didn't think about in the last class, and that is that, I mean, how much are we gonna consistently ask our immune systems to do,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah. No, that's a great point.
And
Yep. Because our skin
especially
is the first line of defense.
exactly, and if you have any kind of autoimmune issues, mine are just stacked on top of each other. I have a ton of them. But, the more you ask of your immune system, I mean, it needs to be doing other things for our bodies too, not just constantly trying to heal the fact that we've decided to rip our face off. So
Right.
there's
Right.
other things it needs to be doing. And I think sometimes, autoimmune isn't always because people tend to think of autoimmune as lack of immune system,
Mhm.
but mostly it's overactive.
Mhm.
So you can traumatize somebody or create a controlled trauma to the skin of a person with an autoimmune disease, and their immune system overreacts, and
Mhm.
creates exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my case study when I was a player in the skin games that I won awards for, he had discoid lupus. So, you have systemic lupus, which attacks all of the body. Then you have discoid lupus, which attacks the skin. So I had to be really super careful with that. Of course, he had to get cleared from his doctor first off. Um, and he was really the first kind of um, work I had really done with Skinwand to prove the point. Like, you don't have to traumatize, you don't have to completely burn off, rip off, whatever. Now, don't get me wrong, I love me a really great microneedling and a really great chemical peel once a year. And that's it. And that's just to kind of get it, pumped up again. Um,
But not in every modality and every
no,
product. Yeah.
yeah, not at all. Mm-mm. So, yeah, we
I
just proved that point even
I
more.
know, I know. I love that. I really do. I love that
Yeah,
about
me too.
us.
Yeah, high five.
Yes. I don't have so yes, I know you're running a little promo for the people that
Yes.
have taken the time to listen to